today I am going to explore one of the most boring, most redundant topics that we have, seen in the media, women empowerment. इतना कुछ इसके बारे में लिखा गया है कि हमें लगता है यार अब एक और नई चीज फिर से कोई बोलने वाला है. My God, it's going to be so boring. So anyways, let's get on to this more deeply. So women empowerment, feminism, has now become the buzzword of the 21st century. And why not? Because we make up 50% of the population.
Mike.
So what in general is women empowerment? Basically, औरत आदमी equal हैं. हमारे बीच में कोई फर्क नहीं होना चाहिए. Equality lies at the heart of this big term. And it doesn't mean that आदमियों की पिटाई कर दो, औरतें सारी आगे हो जाए. No, very simply, it is just to provide equality in all spheres of life. Be it politics, be it socially, economically, physically, mentally, emotionally. There is no sphere in which a woman should not be seen. We've seen in so many movies that have recently come up. Dangal, Kahani, Pink, Mom, NH10, and I'm sure you all know many other movies that have shown women as the central figure of the entire script. Basically, it means gender. I should not feel restricted because of my gender. क्योंकि मैं एक औरत हूँ, तो ये नहीं होना चाहिए कि मैं ये काम नहीं कर सकती या मैं वो काम नहीं कर सकती. I'll share my personal experience. I come from a very educated family and I got married into a very broad-minded and open family. So I've always been encouraged to pursue whatever I wanted to pursue. But when I went to court here, they said, ये जगह कुड़ियों के लिए नहीं है. This is not a place for women. You cannot survive here. But this is just the general mindset. The law doesn't think like that. Our constitution says that men and women are to be treated equally. Article 15, 16, 14, which are the fundamental rights of the constitution, clearly say that there shall be no discrimination. इसका मतलब constitution भी feminist है. A lot of us, at least in my generation, get very defensive. जी हम feminist तो नहीं हो सकते, because they feel that if they say that they are a feminist, then they won't get along with their partners, spouses, fathers, brothers, and so on. Basically, feminism also means equality. It's just in the media, the portrayal has been done in a very aggressive manner. So that's a different topic to discuss. Now let's see, is this word applicable uniformly? क्या हर औरत के लिए women empowerment एक जैसा होता है? नहीं, because in India there is a big rich and poor divide. So for a poor woman, woman empowerment simply means getting access to basic health, hygiene, 2 meals a day, a roof over her head, and clothes to wear. For fortunate people, of members sitting here, you and me, women empowerment for us is simply taking strategic life choices, taking life in our own hands. हम अपने डिसीजन खुद ले सकते हैं. हमें क्या पहनना है, हमें क्या खाना है, हमारे फाइनेंसेस कैसे होने चाहिए. Do I want property in my name? Do I not want property in my name? Do I need this much money? Do I not need this much money? Should I get married? Should I not get married? Do I want to have children? How many number of children? Do I not want to have children at all? That also comes under women empowerment. So the application is very different in between women from different spheres of life. So why is it only for women? Why not for men? Unfortunately, we still give this definition the way it was illustrated back in the Stone Ages. ये होता था जी पहले जब इंसान इस दुनिया में आए तो आदमियों का काम था हंटिंग करना, शेर को मारना, घर पे लेके आना. औरतों का काम था खाना बनाना और उसको भाई बच्चों को आगे बढ़ाना. Unfortunately, that mindset has still percolated in today's generation, in today's times. What happened back in the Stone Ages, it obviously things differed because your civilization came, the Indus Valley civilization, Rig-Vedic period, Vedic society came where mind was given a lot of importance. Once the mind came into the picture, your potential, your life's aspiration became determined from the mind. उसमें तो फिर आदमी औरत का डिफरेंस तो होता ही नहीं. ब्रेन तो इज द सेम फॉर So that is why women empowerment becomes important now. Because we today are living in such civilized societies where there should be no difference, because everything is from the mind. Physical strength is a topic, and it's a thing that should not really be discussed. But of course it's prevalent, so it will take time. So coming back, if you see history, in the olden days, women were given, in fact, equal status. Back in Vedic society, किसी ने मोहनजोदारो मूवी देखी होगी, that was a depiction of the Indus Valley civilization. उस जमाने में the women were given equal power, but of course Bollywood portrayed in a very weird light. Then came the Mughals. In the earlier Mughals, Babur, Jahangir, Akbar gave equal importance to their women. In fact, वो decide करते थे कि राजा कौन बनेगा. जंगें उनकी वजह से लड़ी जाती थी. Khanzada, who was Babur's sister, in fact was instrumental in Babur attacking India and winning the throne. They were so good in politics, in subterfuge, मतलब spy वगैरह का काम ये बड़े अच्छे से कर लेती थी. Jahanara, who was Shah Jahan's daughter, built Old Delhi, the city of Shah Jahanabad. Noor Jahan, in fact, used to trade in her own name. Finances, वो handle करती थी. The empire was run by her. Eventually, when Aurangzeb came and the entire mindset of the country changed, women were slowly relegated. Then, of course, the Britishers came. उन्होंने तो और ही कमाल कर दिया था. In Victorian society, in the English society, women were not given rights at all. Zero. मतलब India was far more advanced than the Western nations. So when the Britishers came, they looked down upon the systems that were prevalent in India. उनके लिए तो बहुत अच्छा था कि अगर औरत की जो स्थिति है कमजोर हो रही है तो better है, they were able to rule effectively. Now this all changed end of the 19th century. जब महात्मा गांधी जी आए, 1899 he was born, Congress party तब आई थी, and that's where the whole movement of women reformation started. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Jyotiba Phule, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, they started off exploring the topics of not doing child marriage, sati, and even widow remarriage. Sati तो बहुत prevalent था. In fact, 2006 में child marriage prohibition आया. 2006. I think all of us were present at that time, right? So moving forward, the constitution was adopted in 1947 जब इंडिया को इंडिपेंडेंस मिली. मतलब ड्राफ्टिंग तो शुरू हो गई थी. तो इमेजिन इन 1940s हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के जो ड्राफ्टर्स थे, B.R. अम्बेडकर जी, मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंटली, उन्होंने पहले ही सोच लिया था कि औरतों के लिए तो कोई डिस्क्रिमिनेशन नहीं होगी. इनफैक्ट इंडिया हैड इंदिरा गांधी एज अ प्राइम मिनिस्टर फॉर 15 years. Now that's a big number. Which country has a woman prime minister for that long a time? Probably England has a queen. Margaret Thatcher भी ज़्यादा लंबा नहीं टिक पाई. So anyways, coming ahead. Now why am I here? I'm here basically to understand how law helps in women empowerment. हम आज ये explore करेंगे कि जो जितने laws हैं इंडिया में एक औरत की स्थिति को कैसे वो मजबूत करते हैं, कैसे गवर्नमेंट हमारी एक लेडी को एक अपने इक्वल लेवल पे, एक आदमी के लेवल पे लेके आती है. So we'll go first through the journey of a woman. I've named her Anita. My husband told me कि ये तो अर्पिता ही जैसा लग रहा है. I said better कि मेरे नाम से similarity हो rather than कि किसी और के नाम से. So we are going to explore her journey. मैं थोड़ा हिलूंगी because this is too restrictive for me. So Anita is a little fetus in her mother's womb. अभी वो पैदा भी नहीं हुई है. She is an unplanned pregnancy. Her parents already have 2 daughters. Suddenly her mother knows that she is pregnant. वो बेचारे बड़े टेंशन में आ जाते हैं. हाय, अगर एक लड़की होगी तो क्या होगा? शादी करानी पड़ेगी. सब्यसाची लहंगे के कॉस्ट भी बढ़ गए. फिर कैसे होगा? शादियां इतनी एक्सपेंसिव होगी, आर्टिस्ट बुलाना पड़ता है. एक फंक्शन से लोगों का पेट नहीं भरता, 4 कराने पड़ते हैं. What is going to happen now? So ये दोनों जाते हैं मियाँ बीवी डॉक्टर के ऑफिस, डॉक्टर की क्लिनिक में, रेडियोलॉजिस्ट के पास. वो कहते हैं मैडम बता दीजिए क्या है, हम थोड़ा डिसीजन लेंगे. वो रेडियोलॉजिस्ट डाडी बिल्कुल, शी इज लाइक फॉर्म एफ फिल कीजिए. So she refers to the PCPNDT Act, Preconception Prenatal Diagnostic Techniques Act, which prevents people like us knowing the sex of the child. ये केवल इंडिया में है, because female feticide सबसे ज़्यादा इंडिया में होता है. Female feticide बोले तो aborting the child without legal methods. You can definitely abort. We have those rights in this country. बट बिना लीगल मेथड्स के आप ऐसे बेबी को अबॉर्ट नहीं कर सकते. सो फॉर्म एफ एक अंडरटेकिंग होती है फ्रॉम द मदर एंड शी सेज मैं ये अल्ट्रासाउंड करवा रही हूँ बिकॉज आई जस्ट वांट टू नो द हेल्थ ऑफ माय चाइल्ड एंड दैट्स इट. आई एम नॉट इंटरेस्टेड इन नोइंग द सेक्स ऑफ माय बेबी. सो एनीवेज ये अपना कराते हैं अल्ट्रासाउंड, वेरी हेल्दी बेबी. फिर धीरे धीरे वो फीटस बड़ा होता है अपनी मदर के वूम में. सो अनीता इज वेरी हैप्पी एंड यू नो शी इज nicely nestled inside her womb. डिलीवरी की डेट आ जाती है. चलो जी डिलीवरी होती है, पता चलता है ओ वी गॉट इट 3 girls. माय गॉड, कैसे होएगी शादी, कैसे कराएंगे. इट इज अ वेरी बेसिक थॉट दैट कम्स इन द माइंड्स ऑफ पेरेंट्स. इट्स नथिंग टू बी ashamed of because the society puts us under that pressure to think about these things. It's only upon us how we take it, and it's time that we start changing it. So anyways, the day Anita is born, her parents are very happy and they distribute sweets, everything. Her mother's a little worried कि patriarchal society में ये कैसे हम इस बच्चे को बड़ा करेंगे. हमें भी पता है, आपको भी पता है, patriarchy तो है ही है, exist. There are so many avenues that are still not open for women. Decision making, तो women तो रहती नहीं है decision making में, even in big business organizations. So anyways, so her father goes to the mother and said, "Chinta na karo, I will tell you the rights that a girl child has, which I am going to tell you now." So Anita comes into this world as her parents' bundle of joy. उनके पापा कहते हैं सबसे पहला right to education. Every girl from between the ages of 6 to 14 has a right to free and compulsory primary education. Now this is applicable only to government schools, not to private. पता चला आप convent जाके बोल रहे हो फीस क्यों ले रहे हो भाई इतनी. So that is free education. Then right to a safe environment, to be brought up in a beautiful, loving, nurturing environment. The Juvenile Justice Act protects the girls from ensuring that they are not abused by their family members. Then the Domestic Violence Act protects all females. हमने डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस एक्ट ज्यादातर यही सुना है ना कि बहुओं को तंग करोगे तो जेल चले जाओगे. नो, इट्स एप्लीकेबल टू एवरीबडी. चिल्ड्रन, mothers, sisters, grandmothers, all the females in the household. Then right to Istri Dhan. Now what is Istri Dhan? Istri Dhan is basically property that you keep in your daughter's name. It's in the olden days it used to come from the mother, but nowadays any family member can give that property to their daughter, and it goes, once she gets married, it is her property and she can take it to her matrimonial home. So she has right over that property. Then she has right against kidnapping and begging. ये तो Indian penal codes में आपको protection मिल जाती है. There are so many laws that protect a girl child from physical harm, kidnapping, prostitution, sexual harassment, outraging the modesty of a woman. So ये सारे बड़े सारे concepts हैं जो विस्तार में आप मुझसे बाद में पूछ सकते हैं. This is under the criminal law. And I'm sure आप सबने newspaper articles में पढ़ा होगा जब निर्भया का unfortunate event हुआ था. Now moving on, but Anita's mother is very satisfied and happy. Now she grows up as a very happy girl. She has a very happy childhood, and she grows up to become this nice career-oriented woman. She goes and pursues a career. She's in one of these corporate firms. So she tells her parents that, you know what, I have rights that actually protect me at the workplace. Nobody can lay a finger on me. There are rights against sexual harassment at the workplace. This came about in 2013. इसमें basically, why was this brought about? Usually जब हम एक organization में काम करते हैं, वो मुश्किल होती है कि हम बॉस की कंप्लेंट करें कि नहीं करें, कुछ बाद में ना हो जाए, ये ना हो जाए. Now grievance committees are formed. It is mandatory for every organization to form that, so that in case there is a complaint, this is taken up and things reach a certain conclusion. Then of course the IPC is there, like I earlier said, which talks about rape and in fact mental torture by the family, mental physical torture and cruelty. ये सारा इसमें cover हो जाता है. Then you have the constitution which guarantees equality even at the workplace. आपके directive principles of state policy आ जाते हैं. फिर उसके बाद dowry prohibition को हम बाद में चलिए आगे discuss करेंगे. So Anita is very happy. मम्मी को टेंशन हो रही, शादी कैसे कराएं, काम वाम कर रही है, कैसे लड़का मिलेगा. So then Anita says, Mummy, why are you worrying yaar? हो जाएगा. And if I'm so educated, why is it difficult for me to find a boy? If I'm sensible in my head, why should it be a matter of concern? Because now let's highlight on this point a little. Women are the center of a family life. In fact, they are the fountain of life. वहीं से तो भाई, they're taking out a human from their body. You can imagine how strong they are. So then why this discrimination? Because थोड़ा सा पढ़ा लिखा बंदा आ जाएगा, they will try to shake up things, they will try to shake up the existing structure of a family. Now, if done in a very positive way, I don't think it's a bad thing, because it will definitely change the fortune and future of that particular family. So her father says that she definitely has certain rights, even once, you know, we start looking at grooms for her and she gets married. यहाँ पे आ जाता है Dowry Prohibition Act. Dowry Prohibition Act क्या बोलता है? You cannot ask for dowry as a precondition for marriage. Don't confuse it with gifting. You know, my mother keeps on giving gifts. So my mother-in-law says कि ये gift मत दो, वो मत दो. Gifting का मतलब होता है, gifting is आप प्यार से दे रहे हो. Dowry is when ये मुझे चाहिए and this should be a precondition for marriage. That is illegal according to the law. So there's a big difference. You know, so these fine lines one has to be very careful of. Then you have the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act, which we earlier had covered when Anita was a girl child. So see how these laws are slowly trickling in, even when Anita has grown up as a young woman and they are looking at grooms for her to get married. Chalo, Anita gets married one fine day and she finds a very nice husband. Then she's also thinking, what about my future? Is my future secure? How much do I get in case something unfortunate happens? So let's understand this. Tomorrow, let's say her husband unfortunately dies or something happens to him and she's dismissed from her in-laws house and she's not even told to come back to her parents' house. इसमें फिर बंदा क्या करेगा? So now we have the Hindu Succession Act. Now see, I'm sorry that I went onto the Hindu laws straight. I want to get back to one point, that laws in India, जो personal, जो हमारे marriage related, succession related है, every religion has its own laws. So Hindus have their own Hindu laws, Muslims have the Sharia law, the Christians have their own set of laws. So now because Anita is a Hindu, so that's why I've included the Hindu laws, and I'm considering a lot of women sitting here come from Hindu backgrounds. Hindu laws are applicable to Hindu, Buddhists, Sikhs and Jains, right? So now as per the Hindu Succession Act, which was passed in 1956, now उस time पे जो Hindu undivided family, HUF family एक होती थी, सबने सुना होगा अपने घरों में इस concept पे काफी बात होती है. Every family plans कि किस तरीके से succession होगा, how the property is to be passed on to the future generation. Now Hindu laws only talk about ancestral property, not self-acquired. Ancestral मतलब 4 generations से pass हो रही है, तभी वो फिर इस Hindu laws के under आएगी. Self-acquired property, something that I've purchased on my own or jointly purchased with friends, वो तो I can will it to anybody, and ये HUF के concept में नहीं आता. So in 2005, there was a very big amendment in the succession laws, and they gave equal status to daughters as inheritors. Daughters were also called co-parceners. Now co-parceners are a unit in the HUF family, who inherit the property along with the sons. Sons are also co-partners. Bichari daughters ko co-partners बनाए नहीं था. Now, stringing all this together, daughters and sons both can inherit their father's ancestral property equally. Now, yahan to Anita has sisters. She has two sisters. So the property will be inherited 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So tomorrow, if something unfortunate happens and there's no security, Anita definitely has a share in her father's ancestral property. And that's about it. Unless he has willed something and given something in her favor in his will. Now let's come on to the husband. Does Anita have a share in her husband's property? Yes, she does. Only her husband's and not her in-laws, a share in her in-laws' property. So, if the husband passes away, Anita will get an equal share divided between the husband's mother and the children. So it's a 1/3 division. Agar bachche zyada hain, depending on the number of kids, the property gets divided. So that way now she's very secure. But then what about from the in-laws? What can she claim from the in-laws? She can only claim shelter and maintenance to succeed in providing shelter. मतलब उनकी ancestral property, उनकी property में she cannot ask for any claim. Only she can ask for is shelter. कि जी घर दे दो. I want to have a house to live in. So chalo, these two concepts, I hope you guys are with me. It can get a little complicated. So one thing is very clear. As a wife, she has a share in her husband's property. As a daughter, she has a share in her father's ancestral property. As a daughter-in-law, she can only claim shelter and maintenance. And from her children, what happens, let's say Anita gets old and she's lived a very nice, happy life, and then she has children, her husband passes away, her in-laws are not there. What can she claim from her children? From her children, she can claim a share in the property, in her children's property, and she can claim maintenance. These 2 points are very important these days. Unfortunately, a lot of old parents have been removed from their inheritance and seeking property. So, but as a sister, what are Anita's rights as a sister? As a sister, she doesn't have first inheritance right. She can only claim if her sisters do not have any children. So because as a sister, she's a class 2 heir. As a daughter and as a wife, as a mother, she's a class 1 heir. ये थोड़ा ज़्यादा depth में मैं चली गई हूँ. तो मतलब in case you want some, a better understanding, you can definitely reach out to me. Now, as a widow, what happens if she wants to get married? She can definitely remarry and she can still claim a share in her deceased husband's property. पहले क्या होता था, when widows used to remarry, इनको अपने husbands की property में share नहीं मिलता था. That definitely changed. Parliament is very advanced. I mean, I don't know what media portrays. The law and parliament are like working in tandem कि भाई औरतों को हमने बिल्कुल पीछे नहीं छोड़ना है. So widows can remarry, seek the share in their deceased husband's property. What about if Anita tomorrow tries to divorce her husband? She cannot claim any share in her husband's property. Divorce तो मतलब कट गया सारा कुछ. You can only claim maintenance and alimony. I'm sure these concepts you all must be aware of. So coming back now, after this really long, monologue about Anita. So why is this topic so important? And we've discovered Anita's journey right into, we've seen possibilities of her being a widow or her being in her old age. Why does this become so important? Unfortunately, in India, there have been 9 million cases of female feticide between the years 2000 and 2019. I mean, that is a really big number considering if all of us are progressive and all of us here sitting are educated and broad-minded. There is still a preference for a male child, which is really silly because the law has given equal status to the woman. In fact, I personally feel the law is quite broad-minded. The society needs to change. It's only when we change can the laws really be implemented. So many people say that आपके तो कानून में ये है, आपका तो ये होता नहीं है, कोर्ट में इतना टाइम लगता है. I will not defend the legal system for sure. But taking action, that responsibility is upon us. In fact, the child sex ratio, which is basically number of girls per 1,000 boys, is declining. And abhi tak decline kar raha hai. We are in 2022, which is an alarming number. So that obviously shows that abhi tak women empowered hui nahi hai. So, you know, these little things, I mean, it is our responsibility that we take it into account and then, you know, change society and, you know, bring in a revolution. So anyways, I'm going to end this long monologue but with the 4 A's of my biggest inspiration, Justice Leela Seth. She was the first woman Chief Justice of India, and she's Vikram Seth's mother. All sitting here who know about Vikram Seth. She spoke about 4 A's. Isi se change aayega. Awareness. We are aware about this. These kind of talks, you know, will probably bring in a little bit of awareness. चलो ज़्यादा नहीं, बड़ी boring talk थी. थोड़ा तो करा ही होगा. थोड़ा तो mind में आएगा आपके कि नहीं यार ऐसी बात नहीं है. मतलब I'm secure, you know. मैं बिल्कुल बेसहारा, बेबस नहीं हूँ. Then you have attitude change. We have to change our attitude. We have to see that nahi yaar, having a girl is in fact not a bad thing. It's so empowering. The third point is assertion of rights. We have to assert our rights. If something happens, we have to take that assertion. ठीक है, aggressively मत करो. Not necessarily that you have to fight about it. Things can be sorted out with speech, with communication, with dialogue, and lastly, of course, action. So awareness, attitude change, assertion of rights, and action. This is what is going to change everything in this country. Probably today, if you guys decide that, okay, I'm going to change, you know, what the situation is, tomorrow your daughters, great-granddaughters will thank you for changing the fortune and future of their family. Thank you.